In the headlines, Venezuelan ambassador rejects suggestions for aid to his country by opposition leader, the validity of the Riot Act to come up before the court, and two charged in Jewelers International robbery wanted in St. Martin for murder. I am Andrea Louis with the Channel 5 News, back with the details after this. Welcome back. We begin with the news that Venezuela's ambassador to Dominica, His Excellency Hayden Pirela, has described opposition leader Lennox Linton's call for Dominica to assist Venezuela financially as an exaggeration.
During a recent political rally in Point Michelle, Lennox Linton issued a call to the government to send $1 million aid to the country amid Venezuela's economic crisis. Rival factions of pro- and anti-government activists took to the streets of Caracas a day after President Nicolas Maduro declared a constitutional state of emergency. According to reports, people throughout the country lack access to food and water and basic health care. Linton also urged residents to make contributions to Venezuela through the local embassy.
The only concern that the government and people of Dominica ought to have at this time is the well-being of the people of Venezuela who are suffering, especially the infants, especially the young children, who are dying in hospitals that are failing across Venezuela. And for us to be thinking now, oh, well, how can this affect the relationship in terms of what we can get? We have to be thinking now, what can we do to help? The suggestion that the government should make an immediate humanitarian contribution to the people of Venezuela in the region of no less than $1 million. The government has not responded. Nobody's saying anything. But this is a crisis that requires our attention, especially as people who have benefited significantly from the resources of Venezuela.
But His Excellency Pirela told the media on Tuesday that the situation in Venezuela is not as bad as it is being reported in the international media. According to him, several of the images circulating online are outdated. His Excellency Pirela says Linton's call for assistance for his country is not necessary.
El señor líder de la oposición en Dominica, no voy a mencionar su nombre, ustedes saben quién es.
I'm not going to mention his name, you all know who he is.
Él hizo un llamado
He made a call
para que se hiciera una congregación para recoger comida a Venezuela.
to make a collection of stuff to help Venezuela.
Es una clara demagogia de él.
This is a clear exaggeration by him.
Nosotros no necesitamos
We do not need
que el señor líder de la oposición
that the Mr. Leader of Opposition
haga ese llamado.
makes this call.
Si él quiere ayudar,
If he would like to help,
venga a mi oficina
he can come to my office
y coordinamos algo.
and we can coordinate something.
Pero no deje a mi país,
But do not allow my country,
y esto lo digo en nombre de todos los diplomáticos que estamos trabajando aquí,
and I say that in the name of every diplomat that is working here,
como si no estuviéramos muriendo de hambre.
like we are dying of hunger.
Ambassador Pirela stated that if donations are in fact brought to the embassy, they will accept it. However, he says he will donate it to the needy right here on island.
No nos estamos muriendo de hambre.
We are not dying of hunger.
Si ese señor líder de la oposición quiere traernos comida,
If that person from the opposition wants to bring us food,
que la traiga.
welcome.
Pero yo la voy a llevar
But I will take that food
a los sectores más pobres de Dominica.
to the poor sectors in Dominica.
Primero,
First,
siendo yo político
as a politician
de un país,
of a country,
yo primero velo por mi país
I just see for my country first,
y después voy para el otro.
and then
Después ayudo
I
al
see
otro.
and help the others.
Pero no me vengas a hablar a mí
But do not come to talk to me
como si tu país estuviera bien
as your country is good
y no hubiese pobreza.
and no poverty.
Por eso,
That's
creo que el primer ministro Kerry
the reason the Prime Minister is scared.
es un hombre muy inteligente.
It's an intelligent man,
No así
but
sus opositores.
it's not the same with the opposition.
Meanwhile, Ambassador Pirela says international media reports of the current situation in Venezuela are misleading. Although he confirmed the food shortages on several parts of the island, he said there are some cases which are politically motivated. There have been long lines of residents rushing to purchase food at supermarkets, and the ambassador says distribution of food is a major problem. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro met with Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley in Port of Spain last week and agreed to buy US $50 million in food supplies from Trinidad and Tobago. Among the priority items Venezuela had requested were chicken, rice, beans, ketchup, butter, and pork. Keisha Nicholas, Channel 5 News.
A hearing is expected to take place at the Civil Court on Wednesday, the 1st of June, related to an application challenging the constitutionality of the Riot Act.
Attorney Cara Shillingford, who is representing the people of Salisbury, accused of disturbing the public peace in connection to a protest last May, is challenging the constitutionality of the Riot Act. According to the claim on behalf of the accused, they are seeking to have the court declare the Riot Act null and void on the grounds that it contravenes sections of the country's constitution, which speak to protection of the right to personal liberty, protection of freedom of expression, and protection of freedom of assembly, among others. Senior counsel Anthony Astafan is representing the state in that matter. He has confirmed to Channel 5 News that the matter will come before the court on Wednesday. Earlier this month, the Attorney General announced that the Riot Act and the Public Order Act were being reviewed with a view to having them replaced. Idona John Baptist, Channel 5 News.
In more top stories, two St. Martin nationals charged in the $1 million robbery at Jewelers International here are wanted for a 2014 murder in Dutch St. Martin. Idona John Baptist has more.
The men are Michael Alexis Maglow and Jason Dubik, whose charges were read to them at the Magistrates Court on Monday, along with 4 others accused in the May 2016 armed robbery. An online news publication based in St. Martin called 721 News is reporting that both men are suspects in a March 2014 murder of a 19-year-old woman who was shot in Dutch Quarter, St. Martin. Following the incident, a press statement by the police and prosecutor's office of that country stated that members of the public who provided information about the crime on various internet sites mentioned both men's names. According to the St. Martin law authorities, their investigation of the case known as Zucchini has shown that these persons are suspects in this case, and the police are making an appeal to them to turn themselves in and report to the detective department for questioning. But the men are known by different names in St. Martin, other than the names provided to local police. Michael Alexis Maglow goes by Alexis Roberts in St. Martin and Jason Dubik as Brent Berry. According to 721 News, their birthplace is St. Martin. The pair is remanded at the Stock Farm State Prison awaiting a bail hearing on June 6. Trial is set for the 6th of October. The men are part of a broad daylight armed robbery on May 21, in which 45 Rolex watches valued in the region of $1,857,000 was stolen from the Jewelers International store in Roseau. Idona John Baptist, Channel 5 News.
On to health news now. An early warning system for climate-sensitive diseases is the next step for the country's Ministry of Health. This is in an aim to help the country better respond to public health threats associated with climate variability and change. The recommendation came from a vulnerability and adaptation assessment carried out by the Ministry of Health.
In terms of our critical next step, this system that we refer to should include the National Disease Surveillance System, climate-sensitive diseases and condition, and assess the impact of climate variability on diseases, incidence, and distribution of those diseases. It is critical that we sort of develop an early warning system of climate-sensitive diseases. This will require greater collaboration with a number of stakeholders here in this room, such as CIMH or Dominica Med Service or partners from the World Meteorological Organization, etc.
The Chief Medical Officer says Dominica is hoping to include smart hospital technologies and techniques as it continues to rebuild its health sector post-Tropical Storm Erica.
It is critical for us that in moving forward, in fact, we have to be building back stronger, particularly after Tropical Storm Erica. So we need to build upon the Smart Hospital Initiative. Smart Hospital Initiative, as most of us would know, focuses on energy saving, disaster resilience, and in terms of water security. Okay? So we need to build, when we're building back our healthcare facilities, our hospitals, our health centers, to focus using the Smart Hospital Initiative.
The Ministry of Health officially launched its Vulnerability and Adaptation Assessment to assist the health sector during a CARICOF meeting on Monday. The Dominican public is being put on the alert of the immediate impact climate change has on a country's health sector. Health Minister Dr. Kenneth Daru says climate-related health threats have a significant impact on the global health system.
As the world's population grows, the impact of weather on climate and health becomes more apparent, with populations facing the consequences of global warming and the resulting climate impact. In fact, the World Health Organization estimates that there are an additional 140,000 deaths each year as a consequence of climate variability and climate change. We are therefore witnessing the growing health impact of climate variability and change, and the region is challenged by new and re-emerging diseases, threatening to overwhelm our health systems.
The Minister for Health lamented that while not contributing significantly to the global warming phenomenon, small countries are the most vulnerable to severe weather systems. Health Minister Daru has been selected by the Pan-American Health Organization, PAHO, to represent the CARICOM region at the second Global Conference on Health and Climate Change in Paris next month. In April this year, over 120 countries signed on to the COP21 agreement with the aim of coming up with measures to keep global warming below 2 degrees Celsius.
And disaster events like Tropical Storm Erica and the consequences on the economy and health of the population are expected to increase. So really frightening news. Now what this does is it reverses the development a small countries like Dominica and the rest of the region have made to improve the lives and health of their populations. Because after each weather event, the resources that we expend to do the cleanup and rebuilding could have, of course, be invested in new facilities, new infrastructure, new technology to improve the health systems. So we lament the fact that as countries which do not contribute to the warming effect, yet still we are still the most vulnerable, and we are already feeling the full wrath of this phenomenon. A phenomenon which experts have coined as the single most deadly threat to human existence.
Minister Daru was speaking at a session on the assessment of climate and health vulnerability and adaptation in Dominica. Coming up, an update on the National Abattoir and its future plans. That and more when we return. Thank you for staying with us. The Ministry of Agriculture is stepping up its game plan on how to manage the avian influenza disease should it enter the country. Avian influenza, commonly known as bird flu, refers to the flu caused by viruses that infect birds and make them ill. It is an infectious disease of birds caused by type A strains of the influenza virus. A field simulation exercise on avian influenza was held in Dominica last year and revealed areas that need improvement.
CARICOM, recognizing that poultry is very important in terms of protein security, has been also working in trying to prepare the region for the possibility of this disease. We have been self-sufficient in egg production for 40 plus years. We are now expanding our poultry industry into broiler production, and so it is becoming or even more important to us to be ready.
Some strains of avian influenza are zoonotic, which means that human beings can also acquire the sickness. Greater collaboration between the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Agriculture is being described as key in managing the avian influenza if it should come to Dominica.
Avian influenza is primarily an animal health problem. However, it can become a threat to human and to the environment. I think we need to formalize the cooperation between the Veterinary Division and the Ministry of Health. I think it is a critical component to control any avian influenza and ensure that health can interface to manage the public health concerns. Although we are a very small country, we can do a lot to prepare ourselves to prevent what can be inevitable.
The Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, IICA, is playing an integral role in this simulation exercise.
Since the risk of avian influenza in the Caribbean region is real, advanced planning and preparation at the national and regional levels for animal health emergencies due to avian influenza virus are recommended and are recognized as a core and important functions of all national animal health services. Based on experiences from North America and other regions, planning and practicing for the incursion of avian influenza virus should be ongoing processes.
The two-day avian influenza tabletop simulation exercise for Dominica got underway on Tuesday. Pig and chicken farmers interested in delivering to the National Abattoir are being cautioned to consider certain standards in their rearing of animals. Operations Manager of the Layu-based facility, Michael Etienne, says the Ministry of Agriculture will ensure that hygienic practices are followed by farmers before accepting their animals.
A lot of farmers are in the preparatory stages of ensuring that they can deliver when we are ready for it. Because it's not just the abattoir has opened and I could bring my bird in, you know, where did you consult the environmental health officer? Did you consult the extension officer? Where is your pen built? One of the things we don't want to do is bring a meat on the market and then someone calls and say, hey, do you know where that guy raises chicken? We have a production manager, you know, and he works in tandem with the extension officers, who works with the environmental health officers, who works with the abattoir manager, you know, who works with the market. So everybody has a critical role to play in ensuring that this works and it works the way it was intended for it to work.
The public will also soon find it easier to obtain local meat supplied by the abattoir at supermarkets. Etienne says branding of the country's meat products is closer to being realized, and as recent as Tuesday, he has been in contact with the Bureau of Standards on the matter.
So we are, I would say, in branding about 75–80% complete. But everything goes through a process. You know, there's protocols to follow. So we actually do and take our due diligence every time to ensure that what we put out there is the best that we can put out there at that time. So in terms of the branding, the process is almost complete, and it will give us an opportunity to really give ourselves a bigger boost on the market, a bigger, you know, notoriety, make us more famous.
The plan is to have the country's meat import bill reduced by 75% and later explore opportunities for export. Etienne says over 1,200 pounds of pork meat were purchased from the abattoir for Bagatel's Pork Fest this weekend. On to the educational scene now. Grading of the Grade 6 National Assessment Exams in Language Arts continues on Wednesday. 1,086 students at 53 centers sat the exams last week. They sat language arts and social studies exams on Thursday, while mathematics and science were offered on Friday. Ministry of Education officials will mark the exams with the assistance of teachers.
With the multiple choice components, we actually start correcting immediately. So when we get the papers on Thursday, we actually start scanning the multiple choice components. We are marking on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday next week. That's the compositions being marked next Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. It's a 3-day session, and hopefully the 1,086 students' compositions will be marked by next week Friday.
According to Robinson, the other papers will be marked once grading of language arts papers is complete. Cabinet will determine how many students will qualify for scholarships and bursaries. And one new member has been added to the Dominica Electricity Services Limited DOMLEC Board of Directors. General Manager of DOMLEC, Bertilia McKenzie, informed the media last week that Martin Charles, the current chairman of the Dominica Agricultural, Industrial and Development Bank, Aid Bank, is the newest addition to the DOMLEC Board of Directors. Charles replaces Alexander Stevenson.
Additionally, there were 6 positions that were up to be filled in terms of director positions. We have 8 SAM directors on the board. and 6 had to be filled, 4 from Imera, and 2 of the positions which are nominated by Dominica Social Security. You know that Dominica Social Security has 20% of Domlec shares. And so these positions were filled yesterday. 5 of the directors were kept on, and one position was filled by someone who is new to our board. And so that position was filled. But the position for the Dominica Social Security, one of the positions was filled by Mr. Martin Charles, and the other position by Ms. Frederica James. Ms. Frederica James has been on our board for the past 3 years.
Charles was nominated by the Dominica Social Security, DSS, which owns 20% shares in Domlec.
Hello, welcome to our segment of Chit Chat. I have here with me this evening Miguel Labadie of Mira Entertainment, and as usual, Miguel is bringing down a big artist, so to speak. Miguel, who can we expect come next Saturday?
Yes, Sidona, in collaboration with some of our good partners, we have invited the legendary Sanchez to Dominica. He is one of the finest voices ever in reggae music, with just about 30 years in the business. Sanchez graces stage at the Harlem Plaza this Saturday, June 4, for an evening of fine lovers rock, sweet reggae music, and Sanchez is expected to deliver, performing hopefully all of his greatest hits that he has produced over the many years.
Okay, wonderful. When can we expect him on island? Will the public have an opportunity to get to interact with him before the concert?
Yes, certainly. He should be making a public appearance on Friday afternoon at Ask the Fans, and Saturday morning at the Digi Center in Roseau. So we're just inviting everyone to the Harlem Plaza for an evening of love and joy. Sanchez, along some of our finest local talent in Dominica, Harlem Plaza from 10 p.m.
Okay, thank you very much, Miguel. So Harlem Plaza is the place to be on Saturday, June 4th for the Sanchez concert. Sports is next with Kenny Williams.
In sports highlights, the Dominica Softball Cricket Development Association is investigating the results of the match between Pititsav and Ericans and Woti Challengers from the Big Edge Gifford Tuesday League on Sunday. Channel 5 Sports understands the total score may have been exaggerated since the summation of individual scores from one team doesn't add up to the suggested number. The association will investigate the matter further and have the final word by the week's end. Meantime, it will be a busy week for the Dominica Football Association as 10 matches are scheduled for play. Gerald George has the football lineup.
On Wednesday, Goodwill Secondary will come up against the Dominica State College at 2 p.m., while on Friday, St. Martin Secondary will battle Wesley High School at 2 p.m. All matches will be played at the Lindo Park in Goodwill. Meantime, in the Domlec Women's League on Thursday, Dive Dominica Harlem United will take on Maho Soca Strikers at the Taser Grounds in Maho at 5 p.m., while in a doubleheader at the Newtown Playing Field, New Generation Sports Club will come up against Bomber Starlights from 5 p.m., to be followed by defending champions New India Goodwill Runners versus Wood City Strikers at 7 p.m. Then on Sunday, defending champions New India Goodwill Runners will battle Maho Soca Strikers at the Taser Grounds in Maho, while at the Benjamin Park, New Generation Sports Club will come up against Wood City Strikers, and at the Newtown Playing Field, it will be Dive Dominica Harlem United versus Bomber Starlights. All matches begin at 3 p.m.
Back on the cricket scene, national batsman Kevin James has been excluded from the Dominican squad in the Windward Islands tournament in Grenada due to stiffness in his back, which caused pain. James told Channel 5 Sports the discomfort stopped by morning. However, he will still be returning to Dominica. Anderson Burton replaces James on the Dominican squad. Meantime, in Monday's game, Dominica led St. Lucia by 166 runs. The national team took first knock and posted 209 in 79.5 overs. Jelani Robinson, 39, Liam Sebastian, 38 not out, Gianni Benjamin, 35, and Tyrone Teofil, 33. Andy Alexander picked up 3 for 22 and Larry Edwards 3 for 42 for St. Lucia. The Lucian batsmen ended the first day on 43 for 1. Keddy Lespers was not out on 25. Moving on to track and field, President of the Dominica Amateur Athletics Association, Godwin Dorset, says although Dominica has one confirmed athlete for the Olympics in track and field, he remains optimistic that those currently trying to get selection will do so soon. He says Bevan Sylvain is among those vying for selection.
I believe Bevan Sylvain, who has this year jumped past 8 meters, the only athlete in the long jump category could pass 8 meters this year. I believe he has a good chance of getting past the 15 meters, 8.15 meters. And then Dylan Simon, who last year flew past 1990 in the shot put, has a very good chance. He's now in Mexico together with Andre Basil. So Andre Basil has not yet crossed the 70-meter mark, but Andre Basil has good potential. Another person who has jumped past 806 in the past years is David Regis. So he also is another potential person for the qualifying.
Still in sports, James Anderson is now the #1 test bowler in the ICC rankings, the first time in his career as a test cricketer. Anderson has taken 18 wickets in the first 2 tests of the ongoing home series against Sri Lanka, collecting 49 points and getting 4 spots in the rankings. Anderson's 8-wicket haul helped him become the 6th bowler to pass 450 wickets in tests. He has also moved to 6 on the all-rounders list and is 1 point behind his teammate Ben Stokes. Finally, the 2016 Flow DABA League continues on Wednesday when Kyrie from Old School goes up against Interschool from 7, while at 9, E.H. Charles Crossovers will take on Eagles. The games are carded for Lindo Park. That's all the sports for now. I am Kenny Williams. Join us again next time.
It's time to head over to the Met office for the last weather report ahead of the 2016 hurricane season.
Hello, good evening. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I will be your presenter for this evening, Farah Rockere. Today, weak and stable conditions was a dominant feature, which resulted in generally cloudy skies across the region. What we also see is this area here of deep convection to the extreme southern portion of the Lesser Antilles, and that is associated with the tropical wave and the intertropical convergence zone. Earlier visible satellite imagery showed some low-level clouds over the eastern Caribbean and over the Caribbean Sea as well. Earlier radar imagery indicated there's some scattered shower activity over the eastern Caribbean region. The weather tonight is expected to be cloudy with some showers, and the weather tomorrow will be mostly cloudy with some showers, and also some hazy and breezy conditions are expected. Winds will pick up to 40 kilometers per hour. Residents in areas prone to flooding, landslides, and falling rocks, please, you are advised to exercise caution. A small craft warning is in effect for high seas and high winds. Sea conditions tomorrow will be moderate to rough, and waves are expected to be up to 8 feet. Let's take a look now at the weather for the next 3 days. As you can see, breezy conditions are expected for the entire 3-day period. The weather conditions for Wednesday and Thursday: mostly cloudy skies with some showers. Also some hazy conditions are expected. A general improvement is expected by Friday. Partly cloudy skies with some showers. Please note, however, on Wednesday, which is tomorrow, it is the start of the Atlantic Basin hurricane season. The weather tomorrow for the rest of the Caribbean: generally cloudy skies with some showers for most of the islands. However, the extreme southern portion can expect some thunderstorm activity as a result of the tropical wave which I mentioned earlier. The international city forecast some thunderstorm activity expected for Miami and Caracas, partly cloudy skies for New York and Beijing, and the city of London can expect cloudy skies with some showers. The sun will rise tomorrow at 5:33 a.m. and will set at 6:33 p.m. Please remember, tomorrow is the start of the hurricane season. For up-to-date information, you could always visit our website at weather.gov.dm or call the weather hotline at 447-5555. Join us tomorrow evening for your next weather broadcast. Thank you.
To end the news, the headlines again. Venezuelan ambassador rejects suggestions for aid to his country by opposition leader. The validity of the Riot Act to come up before the court. And 2 charged in Jewelers International robbery here wanted in St. Martin for murder. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. You can also access our past newscasts on our YouTube page. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Andrea Louis, and to all our viewers around the world, thank you for watching. Join us next time.